Hey everybody, it's Coach Hammond coming to you from beautiful Georgetown, Texas, here in room 132. Hoping you're having a great day. Let's get into it. Today, basically the same thing as we did in class, but now we're going to add this A term to the front of it. Okay, now your book goes through a pretty interesting method. I am not going to use the book method, but if you want to learn another way of working these out, please look in your book and try and figure that out. I thought it was kind of it works, but it's a lot of extra work, a lot of extra steps, and I'm more of a guess and check on this kind of thing, but we'll get going. Okay, so we're going to factor this out. Now once you look at this, we've got this 5 out here, okay, and that's the difference. Everything else is the same and it's all positives, so if it wasn't for that 5, this would be a pretty easy problem. But because it's a 5, 5 is a prime number, and so it's got to be a 5 in front. 5x times x will give us 5x squared. Now what we need to do is we need to find out what multiplies together to give us 10. Well, we have 10 times 1, we have 2 times 5. Okay, some combination of that is going to go right here. We know it's both positive, so we're going to put positives right there. But some combination of that, it needs to add up to 27. And if you look, you can start to kind of see it. If we're multiplying by 5, I wouldn't want to multiply 5 times a 10 because that would give me 50, and that's way too much. I wouldn't want to multiply 5 times 2 because that would give me 10 plus another 5 would be 15. But I would want to multiply it by 5. I'll put the 5 right there and the 2 right there. This is where you're going to have to work it out and try to figure out, okay, now I've got to use my FOIL and I've got to double check this. 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times 5 is plus 25x. 2 times x plus 2x. 2 times 5 is plus 10. So when we get those together, it's 27x. And that's what we want. So this right here would be our answer. 5x plus 2 times x plus 5. All right, going on. All right. Now, what about if you have something like this with the 4x squared? Now, this is where it really gets kind of convoluted and difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. And you've just got to try some stuff out. To get this 4, we could go 4 times 1, or we could go 2 times 2. Okay, I'm just going to go 4 and 1 to start. I'm going to go 4x and x. Well, that gives me 4x squared. Now, how do I get 32? Well, I could go 32 times 1. I could go 16 times 2. I could go 8 times 4. Or I could go, I think that's it. There's no 6, no 5, and we're back to 4. Okay, so one of those. I'm trying to get a 24. Now, the signs are all positive. So there we go. Now, how can I get a 24 in the middle? By using these numbers. Well, if I put a 32 in there and multiply it by 4, it's way too big. It's 128. That won't work. Excuse me. If I put a 16 in, well, 16 won't work if I put it right here. What if I put a 2 right here? 4x times 2 would be 8. And then 8 plus 16, oh, it could be 24. So let's put that in. And I forgot to do a step on here. And I'm going to miss this if I continue working on this problem. So I'm going to go back. Stop working right where you are. See, I even make mistakes. First thing I've taught y'all, is there something that we can factor out? Is there something that we can factor out of this? Well, what's divisible by all of these things? And the answer is a 4. Okay, so if I took a 4 out of 4x squared, I'm left with x squared. If I took a 4 out of 24x plus 6x, and if I took a 4 out of 32, if I divided it by 4, it's going to be plus 8. Now it gets to be a lot easier, okay? You know, I thought about just starting over the video, but I wanted y'all to see me make that mistake because even I screw up sometimes. All right, so we've got a 4 there. We've got an x and an x. What multiplies together to give 8 but adds together to give 6? Plus 4 and plus 2. Right there. That's going to be our final answer. All right. Okay. So we're going to factor this out. Is there anything that we can factor out first off? No. 3 is the low number. Nothing is divisible by 3. So we're going to go 3x and an x. Now, to get 35, 35 times 1, 7 times 5. Those are our two ways of doing that. We want it to equal 26. So start thinking about what we could multiply together that's going to get us close to 26, where we just add the other number to it. And I'm thinking this 7 and 5 will work pretty well. If I put the 7 right here, 3 times 7 is 21, plus 5x would be 26x. So I think this is my answer right here, 35 plus 3x plus 5, and then x plus 7, and it's C. Okay? All right, now factor this. So this is one where we need to look, what can we take out of all of this? I'm going to take out a 2 to start. X squared plus 7x plus 10. And what do we multiply together to give 10 but add together to give 7? 2 and 5. X plus 2 and x plus 5. Okay, making sure that the 2 is out in front. So it looks like D is going to be the answer right there. All right, keep it going. So this problem right here is a toughie, I'm not going to lie. Factor 24x squared minus 22x plus 3. Okay, first off, is there anything we can take out of it? No, there's not. What makes this problem so difficult is this 24. Because 24 times 1, 12 times 2, 6 times 4, 8 times 3. Lots of different options. I mean, those are 8 different options basically of where to put the numbers. So honestly guys, the way that I do this is you just start somewhere. I don't really think it's going to be 24 times 1. Okay, I just don't feel like that's probably going to be it. 12 times 2, I'm going to not go with that one. I always think it's going to be one that's a little bit closer. Let's try the 6 and the 4. 6x and 4x. Now, when I look at my signs, this is negative, this one's positive. That means that they're both going to be negative signs. So I need something that multiplies together to give me 3, but when multiplied by all these, it all adds up to negative 22. Well, 3 is pretty easy because it could just be a 3 and a 1, and I'm going to go with that. I'm going to put it right there. All right, so now let's look and see what we can do when we FOIL this out. All right, I know that my first term is going to be right, 24x squared. I know that my last term is going to be right, 3. But what's 6x times negative 3? That's negative 18x. And this is going to be negative 1 times 4x, negative 4x. So when I combine those right there, I do get negative 22x. And I think that is what we're after right here. Okay, going back and checking, 24x squared minus 22x plus 3. And I just got lucky on that one by knowing that it worked. So what if I would have tried 8 plus 3? And I would have gone 8x and 3x. Okay, and then I'm going to put a negative 3 right there and a negative 1. Let's just see what it looks like when you get it wrong and you have to go back and try it again. That is 24x squared minus 24x minus 3x plus 3. So when I combine it right here, I get negative 27x. And that's not what I'm looking for. And so I know that something is wrong. Maybe the 3 is in the wrong spot and the 1 need to switch. Or maybe it's one of these different factors up here. All right, keep trying, keep using that FOIL method, and keep checking your work. The right answer's there. It's just, are you going to do the legwork to get there? Okay, but in this problem, this is it right there. Okay, going on. Factor 10x squared minus 23x plus 12. Now, if it's multiple choice, work them out. I mean, right here, I'm going to look at this. I know that this one automatically is not right because these are all positives, but I have a negative number in the middle. So it can't be A. All right. Also, I have a positive right here. So I'm looking for one that has both negatives because a negative times a negative is a positive. So it can't be C either. So let's try B and D. Well, 2x times 5x is 10x squared. I'm good so far. 2x times negative 4, negative 12x. Right here, negative 3 times negative 5, negative 15x plus 12. When I combine like terms right there, I get negative 27x. That is not what I want right there. So I'm betting D is my answer. So let's see what we get here. I'm looking, making sure I didn't make a mistake here. Okay, we're good. All right, so right here, I've got 10x squared. Right here, I've got negative 4x, negative 30x, and then plus 12. So looking here, this gives me negative 34x. Coach Hammock must have made a mistake. What was it? Let's see. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. See, man, I need to go back home. All right, here we go, negative 23. So yes, B is the answer. I've made more mistakes in this video than any other. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Right here, this polynomial, whether it's prime or not. So we're going to look at 3x times x. That's the only way it can be. And then you look at negative 5. Well, that means that one's going to have to be a positive, one's going to have to be a negative. So what if I put a positive 1 and a negative 5? Would that work? No, that gives me, let's see, 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. And this would be plus 1x. So that's negative 14x right there. So that doesn't work. So let's flip the 1 and the 5 and just see if that works. Put the 1 right here, put the 5 right there. All right, and again, I'm moving kind of fast, I know, but I know that this part is going to be right, 3x squared, and I know that it's going to be negative 5 on the end. So if I'm using FOIL, I just need to use the outsides and the insides. Okay, the outsides would be negative 3x, the insides would be positive 5x. And when I combine those, I get 2x. So this is not possible to factor. It is prime. There is no factor to that. All right, guys. All right, well, that's enough for today. I hope that makes sense. It's basically the same thing that we tried earlier or today in class, just like your homework. All right, but with that extra number in the front, and you just got to work it out. All right. So I hope that's good. We'll see you in class tomorrow. Have a great day.